Gildan, Dollarama, Ivanhoe, Quebecor, Lyons, something with a red dog, and Saputo, right? I don't know what any of these brands are, but they're in your top 50. How is it possible for a loser like me, whose social media strategy is have 3 glasses of red wine and then do stuff, to beat these companies, big companies with social media teams for followers? How does that work, right? It doesn't make sense. Oh, you know what? I got my numbers wrong. I must apologize. I don't have more followers than any of these brands. I got more followers than all of them put together. Huh? How is it possible? Look at these brands' engagement and you get a bit of a clue. They're getting like 7 or 4 people to like or retweet their social media messages, or 5, or 2, or 11, or 23, big number, right? These are just the latest tweets I took before I got on my plane from Australia, right? I wasn't selective, I took the latest one. They get like 6 people. 6 people out of 12 million go in, I like that, right? This is a minibus size amount of engagement, yeah? Now again, take me, loser with 3 glasses of red wine, right? The latest tweet I did before I got on the plane was this one. I found a woman at the Trump protests. I saw a photograph of her. She's wearing, as you can see, gold hot pants and has made a giant paper mache model of her clitoris. And I thought that was just about the greatest fucking thing I'd seen in about 6 months. So I tweeted, look, I think she's fucking great, right? That picture of that woman in the gold hot pants with the giant clitoris, that's got more engagement than those Canadian brands. Yeah? Or at Christmas, I sat on my phone with my big ass by accident, and I didn't know LinkedIn was on, and my ass accidentally sent out a LinkedIn message, yeah? This is the message. I think it's a cry for help, but I'm not sure. Yeah? That message from my ass got more engagement than my ass is the champion of social media engagement in Australia. Now you're going, but wait now, this isn't right. This is old stuff, and you'd be right, okay? Here what we're talking about is old-fashioned organic connections. Now you remember this shit. For 10 years in social media, this is what we talked about at conferences like this. How we're gonna have relationships with customers. How the old models of advertising don't work. How it's about establishing relationships and conversations with brands. And it turned out, do you remember? That was all fucking nonsense. Nonsense. People didn't want to have a conversation with a brand. It was nonsense. And we crossed a threshold around about 2015 where agencies went, oh, you know what? Actually, social media doesn't work. But it works as a great advertising media. And the old models are fine. As long as you don't do traditional advertising, you do digital advertising. And everything's great. And the best example is BBDO, Paul's agency. BBDO was voted Agency of the Year in America at Christmas by MediaPost. It's a big award. And they were given the award because they'd worked out that social media doesn't actually fucking work, except as an advertising medium. The lingering model of organic, always-on content creation for brands has become inefficient and ineffective, BDDO concluded in a report. The model, which was developed by BDO's communications planning team, found that while 97% of the top 100 brands still rely on organic postings on Facebook, they have become largely ineffective as the sheer amount of brand content has expanded and as Facebook's algorithms have throttled organic brand feeds. The solution? Utilize Facebook not as a social network, but as a media channel. We moved in 2015 into an era where social media became a media like any other. And I think there are 3 questions here. First, do you all know that happened and that social media, that whole organic shit doesn't work anymore? Because I still think there are social media teams out there that are operating under the illusion that it works. This live stream horseshit, and live stream, by the way, it's like home porno without sex or any naked people. Live streaming depends on some kind of organic connection, doesn't seem to be there. How come everyone drank the Kool-Aid for 10 years about social media and no one went, you know, it doesn't fucking work? That worries me. And it worries me because what's to stop that whole Kool-Aid, digital is amazing, we won't ask hard questions, infecting the next 10 years when we now see advertising as a digital media for advertising? In fact, I believe that's already begun. And I think you must be more critical in how you assess digital advertising. Let me tell you about the murky, fraudulent media supply chain. And I'm choosing my words carefully, but I mean it, fraudulent. Let me tell you where your $100 go when you put it in programmatic. Let's fucking talk about real stuff, eh? Not programmatic, the shiny bullshit thing. Let's talk about it for real with actual numbers. You ready? So here's your budget. your programmatic budget. You ready? Let's see what happens to it. Well, first of all, 5% of it's going to go to your agency of record. They're going to charge you a commission. Then I'm going to give some of it to the trading desk, on average 15%. 10% of it's going to go to the DSP, because they're the demand-side platform. They get that. 25% will go to your ad tech companies doing data and verification. You should know this, but you don't know this. No clients know this. And finally, 5% for the actual exchange. Yeah? That's where your money's got to so far. You remember the old days, some of you old people in the room, in the late 1980s, we used to complain about the 15% commission we had to pay our agencies. Well, look at the fucking progress we made with programmatic. It's now 60%. How do you like them apples, right? But it's so fucking complex, no one knows that, so we're fine, right? Now, at this point, we can actually, buy some media with the remaining 40% of the budget. Here's where your media goes, but it doesn't all go to like media that consumers will see. Some of it's going to go to bots. Remember those things, bots? I'm sure you've been talking about a lot in this conference. They're all over the place with digital media. If we were generous, we'd say there's 10% fraud based on bots. That would be totally unrealistic. Even a conservative estimate says it's about 30% of the audience you reach with digital banner ads and video is now bot-based. Yeah? So we've got to take another 30% out of that number. So congratulations, your programmatic buy, you got 28 cents in the dollar. How'd you like that? I'm sure you're talking about it though, right? And these aren't numbers I pull out of my ass on my own personal walled garden. They come from the World Federation of Advertisers report, one of the biggest, most objective organizations in the world. Oh, and that title, The Murky Fraudulent Media Supply Chain, that's not my words. That's the words of Mark Ritson, the CMO of Procter & Gamble, the most powerful advertiser in the world. That's what he called programmatic on Sunday night at the conference he was speaking at. It's all going on in front of you. And I don't know how much you're aware of because it's not presented to you in this format. So what Pritchard said at that amazing conference in Florida on Sunday was, and I'm quoting directly, "I'll make a confession," he said, which may sound familiar. "I confess that P&G believed the myth that we could be a first mover on all of these latest shiny objects. Despite the lack of standards and measurements and verification, we accepted multiple viewability metrics.